Alright, what is going on, y'all? We are back with another video. Man, does it feel good to say that, man. Been a couple months since I made a video, man. But with that being said, let's get right to it. In case you guys do not know, this video is about the Eastern Conference preview. So I'm going to be talking about each and every Eastern Conference team this year. What I believe, what do I think these teams are ranked, who are the best, teams in the East. I'm going to go by tiers. So let's get started, man. So first team I'm going to talk about, in case you guys do not know, if you see on the photo right now, I'm talking about the Brooklyn Nets. So also I almost forgot to include that this is Bleacher Report predicting records. I'm not going to talk about their records. I don't really have to care what Bleacher Report had to say in this article. I'm just going to give you guys who I believe are the best teams, what I rank these teams at in the Eastern Conference. So with that being said, Brooklyn Nets are my favorites in the Eastern Conference to come out the East, and they are my overall favorites to win the championship this year. Main thing about them is health. They stay healthy. I think this team will win 60 plus games. They got the best trio in the league, and KD, Harden, and Kyrie. KD, in my opinion, the best player in the league right now. You got James Harden, who's top 7, 8 player, and then you got Kyrie, who's the top 15 player in the league, man. The offensive firepower that this team has, I don't think nobody can match it when they at their peak. Yeah, and I also love the offseason additions that that they added to this team, to complement these three stars. They re-signed Blake Griffin for the minimum, which I think would be the bargain. We got Bruce Brown coming back on his qualifying rookie deal. We still got Joe Harris there. I love the addition of Patty Mills, man. Patty Mills, I think, would be a very good pickup. Would be a very good player for this team and one of the best backup point guards in the league. So add another shooter. James Johnson, who I think is he's a solid role player. Solid. He provides solid minutes at the forward spot for them. And then I love the way they drafted and Cam Thomas, who had a very big time league. He's a big time scorer. And I also love De'Ron Shop, another 6'10", 6'11" big man, stocky big. So I think he help this team in the future. And then I love the fact that Marcus Aldridge is back and healthy. Love to see that. They did lose Jeff Green, which I do believe will hurt this team more than people realize. But the biggest concern about this team is health, and then you can have some question marks about their perimeter and rim protection. That's really the only thing you can say about this Brooklyn team. They stay healthy. I do believe the team is the favorites to come out the East, and they are for sure my tier 1 team in the East. Alright, so next up, let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. And, Philly and Ben Simmons, a lot of things happening with Philly right now. But with that being said, man, I'm not as high on Philly as maybe some people are, especially after what happened this postseason. But not only that, but this past couple of years, past few years, there's something about Philly that this hasn't been able to click for me, man. That hasn't had me sold on this team, and obviously this meltdown, this breakdown, the playoffs, them being an early exit. Another disappointing into today's season is this another reason why I never really fully believe in Philly, man. With that being said, I had this team as a tier 2. I wouldn't be mad if some people think it's a tier 3 team, but they have the talent of a tier 1 team. That's the crazy about this Philly team. They just haven't been able to live up to their potential. But with that being said, we got a lot of questions about Joe Embiid health. We know we're gonna see what happened with the Ben Simmons situation. In my opinion, I don't think Ben Simmons is gonna play another game in Philly. We're gonna see what they get back for him, or he somehow come back. We're gonna see what happens with that. But let's talk about Ben Simmons very quickly. I'm not gonna go on a stand and rant about this, but everybody was blaming Ben Simmons. They put all the blame on Ben Simmons for them losing to the Atlanta Hawks this postseason. Ben Simmons is not the only reason why they lost. Everybody in that team, the whole organization, have to be held accountable. Doc Rivers did not coach a good series against against Atlanta Hawks. Joe Embiid had games in the fourth quarter where he was no show. He did not have good halves, good games. Tobias Harris had quite a few bad games. We're not gonna talk about how he only had 4 points in one of the games, and he's sort of be the number 2 option, scoring option. Everybody, the organization, the way they built around Ben Simmons, not playing Ben Simmons to his strength, not utilizing Ben the right way. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. They have not been utilizing Ben Simmons correctly. Not at all. And I think it's safe to say that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid is not a good fit next to each other. I know they like each other, they cool, but sometimes you just don't fit. You don't fit with a player, and that seems to be it. They don't fit. The game just don't mess well together. And I think it's time for Ben Simmons to have a new situation. Now, Ben Simmons' value, I do believe, is too low. I think he has become very disrespected. Yeah, he had a poor postseason, but it's not all Ben Simmons' fault. So I'll make a separate video on that. So let's keep it moving here. Next up, we have the Boston Celtics, and which in my opinion, they had a very underrated offseason. I thought they had some very good moves. I love the offseason additions that Brad Stevens, offseason move that he made. Starting with trading for Al Horford. Kemba Walker and Boston just wasn't a good fit. He had injury issues, so they got Al Horford, which in my opinion is the benefit for this Boston team. The good bid to back up Robert Williams, or you can start him just in case Robert Williams, still have injury issues. But I think Al Horford leadership, his playmaking, floor spacing at the center spot, and then his defense that he provides, I think fits better next to Boston. Next to Tatum and Brown, and this is a benefit for Boston. Now, they did extend him Marcus Smart, which I am kind of scared about, but they got him locked up for the next few years. I love the pickup of Dennis Schroeder, especially for the deal that he's on, 1 year, $6 million. I think it's a very good deal for Boston to have Dennis Schroeder on. Excuse me. And then I'm looking forward to see the improvement of Peyton Pritchard and Aaron Nesmith in the year 2. And then Josh Richardson is another pickup I actually like for this Boston squad. Yeah, I know he hasn't been good since he left Miami. I know a lot of people have been down on him. He hasn't really a lot of people not really high on him anymore, but I still have some faith. And Josh Richardson, it seems that he can provide for this team. He can provide. He can be a two-way player for this Boston team. And then I love the contract for Boston that Robert Williams on. I think that's going to be one of the better contracts in the league in the next couple of seasons. If he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, it's going to be a very good contract for Boston. And then in this counter, I think another solid pickup for their bench. He can provide offensive punch for the team off the bench. So yeah, overall Boston. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Boston. I know last year they had a down year, but you got to think about this. Boston was affected by COVID more so than any other team last year, and they were the 7th seed. Yeah, they were the 500 last year, but I think last year was, I want to say, kind of a fluky year for them. I think they'd be much better than people realize. And then people believe this year. I think they would be a top 6 seed in the East. You can call that a hot take, but I think Boston is better than a lot of people give them credit for it. I think this team is a tier 2 team in the East. But now it would not surprise me if they be a second round team, or depending on matchup, they can make it Eastern Conference Finals if everything goes right for them and they stay healthy. So I think Boston will be a top 16. Next up, let's talk about the New York Knicks. So the New York Knicks, that's one of the teams I'm not as high on as a lot of people are. I will say they did get better this offseason. Adding Kemba Walker on the buyout, off the buyout market. Re-signing D Rose, Evan Fournier was, I believe, kind of a little bit overpaid for him, but they added more offensive firepower at the guard spot. But they did lose defense. I think they will be worse off defensively. But Julius Randle, who did not have a good postseason at all, had a very, very, very good regular season. I believe he's second team All-NBA. But I do have some concerns. I want to kind of hold back on the type of season he had last year, because the type of shots that he making in the regular season, man. Well, he was taking some very tough shots, and he was taking the same type of shots in the postseason, and you saw what happened in the postseason. So I got some concerns. I got some reservations about the type of season that Julius Randle has. But overall, he had an incredible year. Like the distance to Kemba Walker, at the point guard spot. So him and D Rose be him the point guard spot, which I think, like I said, they are much better offensively. Evan Fournier will help them on offensively end, but defensively, I do have some concerns about this squad. I do like to re-sign on Norris Noel for them, and then the biggest, to me, the two biggest X factors for this New York Knicks squad this year would be R.J. Barrett, depending if he can take a jump or not. Which I do believe he can take a jump. I think he can take a jump. Now, will he, depending on due to the signs that they have at the guard spots, we'll see. But that's gonna be the key for them. And then Mr. Robinson health. I think Mr. Robinson and R.J. Barrett are the two X factors. New York Knicks want to be better and want to make a deeper postseason run. But as far as I'm concerned, I think this New York Knicks squad I have as a tier 3 team right now. I'm not as high on them as a lot of other teams. A lot of other people are. So next up are the Toronto Raptors. So the Toronto Raptors, my opinion, I think you can excuse them for last year. They wasn't playing at home. They played in Tampa. They didn't have home court advantage. This team had a lot of injuries last year. They had COVID issues, etc. I think this Toronto team, would be better than a lot of people realize. Now, do I have them at the playoff team next year? I want to say no. I think the East definitely got better. I still like their core of Fred. I like them re-signing Gary Trent. Them trading and re-signing Gary Trent. I think OG is gonna make a jump this year. I think he's in the running for most improved. Pascal gonna miss people. I don't know if people realize this, but Pascal gonna miss the first couple months due to a shoulder, a tear in the shoulder. Chris Broussard, who I think is a solid big. And then I like the draft of Scotty Barnes. So this is a very interesting Toronto team. Now, I think they will be better than some people realize, and I think people kind of sleep on them. But I do not have them as a playoff team this year, so I have them as a tier 4 team. I have the Toronto Raptors in the playing game, but I don't think they're gonna end up taking the top 8 seed. So yeah, I think Toronto is gonna be an interesting team to look out for. Depending how Pascal can bounce back, this upcoming season is gonna be a huge factor whether or not this Toronto team can get back in the playoffs. Alright, so next up we have the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks, man. You have to feel good for Giannis. The fact that he, grinded out with this team, stayed with one team. I have so much respect for the way Giannis won a championship, man. That's the true definition of earning a championship, not buying a championship. This Milwaukee team is a perfect example of building through the draft. Really just that's how you build a championship team. The way they did it 5 years ago. 5 years ago, this Milwaukee team, I believe they only won like 15 games. That was just 5 years ago. Giannis wasn't an MVP caliber player up until 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago. You see Giannis taking from where he started in the NBA, where he was at, man, to where he is now, man. What a career for Giannis, man. What a jump. What a career for Giannis, man. Nothing but respect for Giannis for winning MVP. Yeah, me, who has some criticism about his game. I have some criticism about his game, the way that Milwaukee kind of utilize him, don't utilize him as much. I have some question marks about that, but you gotta have nothing but respect for Giannis, man. He answered a lot of questions. And one thing you can never take away from Giannis is that he's a champion. He's a 2-time MVP. He's a Finals MVP. He's a champion. He's won Defensive Player of the Year, man. And he's only 26 years old. He done all this. What a heck of a career. What a heck of a career for Giannis so far. And he's in his prime now. So, very interesting to see what Giannis, what happened for Giannis from here. But let me not sidetrack myself. Milwaukee Bucks. I have to see my other tier 1 team. So in case you guys, I'm going to spoil it early. Brooklyn and Milwaukee, my two tier 1 teams in the East. They're my only tier 1 teams. Well, I think these two teams are the favorites in the East. I'm gonna make this preseason prediction. I have Milwaukee and Brooklyn meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah, Giannis, of course. top 3 player in the league right now. I have put Giannis in my top 3 player in the league right now. You got Chris Middleton to come back. Drew Holiday, the trade for Drew Holiday, man. You look at it now, man. A+ trade, heck of a trade. I'm glad Drew Holiday getting the recognition that he deserves. In my opinion, the best perimeter defender in the league, man. They did lose PJ Tucker, which I do believe is going to hurt them more than they realize, especially to the team that he went to, which I will talk about later on. Them adding George Hill coming back, I think that's a plus. Grayson Allen, which I think not a lot of people are talking about. I think he'd be a good player for them off the bench. He kind of replaced Brandon Forbes. I do believe he's the upgrade for Brandon Forbes. And then Dante DiVincenzo. In case you guys did not realize that he missed after the first round. He missed the rest of the playoffs. So they had Dante DiVincenzo back. And I think a lot of people realize the thing that he provided for this team. He's one of the best perimeter defenders. He's a 3D player. Secondary ball handler for them. He did a lot of a lot of little things for this market teams that they definitely missed him at some points this postseason. But he's back. I like that this is the Milwaukee Iron. It'll definitely be one of my contenders in the East, and definitely contenders to repeat. But as it stands right now, I have this team as my second favorite in the East right now. Next up, we have my hometown team, Chicago Bulls, who I am iffy about. Overall, we got like the offseason that they had. They added DeMar DeRozan. Love the addition of Lonzo Ball. Of course, you have Vucevic. Like the fact that they drafted Iowa, they drafted him in the second round. I've seen a lot of people saying the Bulls are top 5 seed. In my opinion, I have some reservations about that. I wouldn't necessarily have the Bulls as the top 5 seed in the East. I can see the Bulls getting that 6th spot. I think they ceiling, in my opinion, they ceiling this year is that 6th seed. But I do believe that the Bulls gonna be a playing team. I don't think the Bulls gonna get top 6 seed. As being the hometown kid, I got some question marks about their defense. I got question marks with DeMar DeRozan signing, how he fit next to Zach LaVine, how he fits next to Lonzo Ball. Are they gonna have Lonzo Ball as a 3-and-D role? I don't think they signed all that money for having him as a 3-and-D player or secondary primary ball handler. I think Lonzo Ball really tried the primary ball handler. I think he's the best passer in this team. Whereas DeMar DeRozan hasn't really played off the ball. As somebody who watched one of the Spurs the last couple of years, he don't really know how to play off the ball. He's not really off the ball threat. DeMar DeRozan at his best when he's had the ball in his hands. But I will say one thing about DeMar DeRozan that he has on this Bulls team where he did not have on the Spurs team. He have a lot more shooters. The floor be a lot more spaced out. Well, Lonzo Ball who shoots 40% from three. Zach LaVine who can shoot it from three. Vucevic is one of the better shooting bigs in the league. Pastor Williams, who in my opinion is going to be the X factor of the starting lineup of this Bulls squad. Unfortunately, he's out. He probably going to miss the first couple of weeks of the season due to that ankle injury. But overall, like they starting 5. My biggest question mark about this team is how they going to, their chemistry, obviously, but their defense, man. I have a lot of concerns about their defense, which is why I'm very hesitant to say they are for sure top 16, top 6 seed in the East. I don't think they're going to be a top 6 seed in the East. I think they'd be a playing team. I think they get that 7-8 seed. Which, if you're the Bulls, man, if you go another year not making the playoffs, they're going to have a lot of things to talk about with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's a free agent. So, overall, I had this Bulls squad a tier 3, tier 4 team in the East. I think they'd be a tier 3 team. I like the offseason additions that they made, but I got some question marks about this squad. Next up, we have the Indiana Pacers, who I had as a dark horse as long as they stay healthy, man. The fact that they added in my opinion, one of the better coaches in the league, Rick Carlisle. Unfortunately, now think about it, today news with Caris LeVert having a stress reaction in his back, man. Caris LeVert could not catch a break. Good thing they say about it could be a minor injury, which I hope it is, and they say he can potentially be ready for the start of the season. I hope that's the case, man, because we all want to see Caris LeVert healthy, man. In my opinion, he's one of the more fascinating, underrated young players to watch when it's healthy. And when they healthy, I like the starting 5 of Malcolm Brogdon, Cares Revert, TJ Warren. And then you got the bigs and Sabonis and Turner, which you can have some question marks about the fit, them two fit, and then they or having overall two bigs in the NBA today. I know a lot of people been saying that this should trade one of them. We'll see about that. But when this team is healthy, I think this Indiana team is for sure a top 8 seed. I think they're a playoff team, personally. And I actually would not be surprised if they end up as a 6, 7, 8 seed. Therefore, I could see this Indiana team. So I had the team as a tier 3 team. I think they are dark horse in the East, as long as they stay healthy. I like the role play they have this team. Overall, I think the Indiana Pacers team is a step-on team in the East. I know last year they didn't have good a season, obviously, because they had a lot of injuries too, as well. Overall, it is a tough year for injuries, man. So yeah, I do believe that the Indiana Pacers are a dark horse, and I think they're a top 6 to 8 seed. I think they'd be around a 6 8 seed. So I think they're a tier 3 team in the East, and they are one of my top 8 seeds this year. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are an interesting young team. The situation with Colin Sexton. We don't know what they're gonna do with him. He's up for a contract extension after this season. He was eligible for one this offseason, but they never extended him. So that's gonna be interesting with him. All about the trade rumors about him. Darius Garland, who I believe is gonna take a jump this year. A lot of if you go around the league, a lot of players ask about who won the young candidates to break out. A lot of these NBA stars are saying Darius Garland is due for a breakout. They think he could be one of the best point guards in the league in the future. So there's a lot of high praise from a lot of these NBA stars. And I think Darius Garland is due for a jump, man. I think he should be the guard of the future, man. I think he should be a number one priority on this team from a guard standpoint. And then I like the Isaac Curl at the 4 spot. And then I have some question marks about the offseason though. They drafted Evan Mobley at 3. So obviously, you take Evan Mobley at 3, you take best player available. Then they went on and signed. To me, it was a surprise in signing Laurie Marketing. You extend Jared Allen to a 5-year, $100 million dollar deal. Then you still have Kevin Love, who's on a huge contract for the next 2 years. Was my opinion. I don't think nobody gonna trade for that contract. They logged up at the center at the big man position, man, and their number of priorities will be developing Evan Mobley. So we're gonna see what they do there, man. I don't think this team is a playoff team. I think they still in the play-in game. I think they can make the play-in spot at the 10th seed. I think that's their ceiling, but in terms of tier team, I think they a tier 5 team. I think they won. I ain't gonna say they're the worst team in the East, but they like the bottom 3-4 team. I think they like the 12th best team in the East. But they still could be a 10th seed. But they have a very interesting future. Now we're gonna see how the organization, how their front office handle things, because they haven't been known to be the best front office, especially in terms of developing young players. But we're gonna see how everything goes from there. And I'm pretty excited for this young team. They got a very young, very excited, young core. So next up, we have the Detroit Pistons. All right. Obviously, they hit the jackpot this draft. I get a number 1 pick, selecting Cade Cunningham. This also a very interesting young team. I actually think I like the Detroit Pistons young core. Isaiah Stewart had a very underrated, very good rookie season last year. He was a hidden gem for this Pistons team. I like Sadiq Bey. I'm actually a person who's very high on Sadiq Bey. Thought he should look higher. I thought he should win in the lottery. That being like the 17th, 18th pick. So that's another very good pick for Detroit. Detroit had a very good, draft last year. And then, Jeremy Grant is still there. Somebody who's a 20-point per game scorer, who's one of the better, 3-and-D players. I can't even consider Jeremy Grant a 3-and-D player. But Jeremy Grant, who had a 20-point season last year, one of the better defenders in the league at the 4 spot. And then they added Kelly Olynyk for veteran presence, which would be interesting. I think this Detroit team gonna be good in the future, but this team is definitely tier 5 team. they're gonna be like a 13th, 14th seed. They're not gonna be very good next year, in my opinion. Um, but this future of this team is very exciting. So they are a tier 5 team, but they will be a fun tier 5 team to watch this upcoming season. All right, so let's get down to the last 5 teams. I've been talking for a while. It's been about 25 minutes. I'm gonna try to get this down to 30 minutes. Um, we have the Miami Heat, who, in my opinion, I think they pretty close to Milwaukee, in my opinion, as the second best team in the East. I might be higher on Miami Heat than a lot of other teams are. I think they pretty close, and I still believe they match up very well with the Miami Heat. With the Milwaukee Bucks. Excuse me. I think this team is a high tier 2 team. I had this team as a tier 2 team. I think the Miami Heat is gonna be like a top 4 seed. Unless they probably won't be. I don't think they get as many wins as people. As people will expect them to, if that's the right word for it. No, let me backtrack that. Sorry for that. I think the Miami Heat team is built for the playoffs, so I think the regular season record is not going to indicate how good they are and how good they could potentially be in the postseason. There you go. So I think the Miami Heat, excuse me, are pretty close to Milwaukee Bucks. I think they could be argument that they could be right there with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think the Miami Heat would be they my top 3 or 4 teams. Top 3 or 4 team in the East. Obviously the Kyle Lowry addition was good. The PJ Tucker, deal with the Markieff Morris. If you think about it, this team has some dogs, man. They have some really tough-minded, tough-nosed players, man, to this team. And I do believe each and every one they signed so far, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, Markieff Morris, kind of reflects on how the Miami team's squad, excuse me, was a tough nose, feisty, and they represent the Miami Heat culture, man. I think this Miami Heat team got some dogs, man. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, Markieff Morris, then Bam, man. I think this team gonna be one of the better defensive teams in the conference, man. Matter of fact, they're gonna be one of the better defensive teams in the league. I'm probably high on this Miami Heat team than most people, especially with the way they went out last year, getting swept by the Milwaukee Bucks after beating the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 the year before. Once again, I think Miami kind of had a fluky year dealing with COVID injuries. They just had overall, they can never get rid of them last year. I think as long as they stay healthy, which it's a damn allowed team, I think this team be a top 3 or 4 team in the East. Now I'm going to another hot take. Depending on the matchups, they were the matchup with Milwaukee. I would not be surprised they take Milwaukee to 7 games or potentially beat Milwaukee in the series. I think they can make an Eastern Conference Finals. I really do believe they still in. Everything go right from Miami and they get the right draw. They could potentially be Eastern Conference team. I think they could be Eastern Conference contender. So they are a tier 2 team. I think they are a high tier 2 team in my opinion. Next up, we got to talk about the surprise team in the playoffs in my opinion. The team who impressed me the most during the postseason, especially in the East, are the Atlanta Hawks. And we got to talk about the player who impressed me the most during the postseason. That's Trae Young, man. I had a lot of questions about Trae Young, by the way he was playing the regular season, his play style. Can he be efficient in the playoffs? And he was more efficient than I give him credit for. He was phenomenal in the playoffs, man. Really carried that Atlanta Hawks team, man. And he's proven that he's a young rising star. And he got the potential to be a young rising superstar. That's how good he was in the postseason. He really elevated his stock this postseason, man. He answered a lot of questions. He shut up a lot of critics. The way he played in the postseason, man, he made me a big time fan again. Trae Young, I give credit when credit's due, man. He showed out. And I like the additions that this Atlanta Hawks team added this offseason. DeLon Wright was he's a solid guard for them. Georgie Dane, who's a very solid role player, big man, especially with the injury to Nneka Okongwu, who I had as one of my breakout players before the injury. I think he'll miss by half the year with a shoulder injury. This Atlanta Hawks team is very deep. We got Trae Young, we got John Collins. If Cam Reddish get the right opportunity, I think Cam Reddish can be a very good player in this league, man. He has a very big moments in the when he came back in the playoffs. We got DeAndre Hunter, who I'm high on, man. He should be back sometime early in the season. I know he had torn a meniscus in the series against Philly. I think he tore his meniscus in the series against Philly. But overall, this team is very deep. I like Clint Capella, excellent rob partner for Trae Young, good defensive big, very solid big, good piece for this team. Like Herder, I like Bogan. Atlanta Hawks, in my opinion, are one of the deepest teams in the league. And Trae Young can take another step, or he can stay at the level he played at during the postseason. If we got one of the young guys, can take a step, and then they can find that second star, and somebody can step up and be that second star. This Atlanta Hawks team could be very dangerous in the postseason once again. I had this team as a tier 2, tier 3 team. I wouldn't be mad at anybody if you think this team is tier 3 or you think this team is tier 2. I'm gonna go with tier 2 just based on the fact how they perform in the playoffs. I know a lot of people say that this could potentially be the fluke. We're gonna see. My opinion, they can go out in the first round. I think they'd be better next year, and they can go out in the first round. That's how much better the East, in my opinion, I got in this season. But overall, I think this Atlanta Hawks team would be a top 6 seed in the East. I think they're going to continue to carry the momentum that they had in the postseason and carry into the season. So I had this team as a tier 2 squad, and I think they'd be a top 6 seed in the East. Next up, we have the Starlight Hornets. In my opinion, one of the funnest teams to watch in the league last year. They had one of the best broadcaster teams, very entertaining broadcasting squad last year. And I think this Hornet squad is very fun to watch. You got LaMelo at the point of attack, Terry Rozier, who had a very, very good season last year, Gordon Hayward, who had a good season before he got hurt. That's always seemed to be the issue with Gordon Hayward. And they can have a Gordon Hayward, a healthy Gordon Hayward for this season. They was on the verge of making the playoff last year, and I think they would have made the playoff last year if they would have remained healthy. If LaMelo never got hurt and Gordon Hayward never got hurt, I think this team would have been a playoff team last year. Now, do I think this Charlotte team can be a playoff team? I actually think they'd be a playing team. Now, do I think they can make the playoffs this year? I'm like 60-40 no. But I would not be surprised if they made the playoff this year. But I'm not here to give you no answer. I'm here to give you an answer. So I don't think this team will make the playoff this year. I think they'd be in the playing team once again. I think they'd be between 8th, 9th, and 10th seed this upcoming season. Fight the addition of Mason Plumlee at the center spot. Obviously, hopefully, Miles Bridges, and player like LaMelo can take another jump. PJ Washington, who's a very, very steady force on this team. Kelly Oubre will be a very interesting piece for the squad to win position. And then I love the way they draft. This offseason. They added James Bouknight at 11, who I thought was going to be going to top 10. They had added Kai Jones at 18. Overall, this team had a good postseason. And this team will once again be a very fun team to watch on this upcoming season. But I had this team as a tier 4 squad. Alright, next up, we have the Washington Wizards. I actually in favor of their offseason. This team, to my opinion, they are one of the more deepest teams in the league. They don't have a second star next to Bradley Beal. We're going to see how this situation with Bradley Beal pays out. See if he still want to, remain Washington Wizards. See if they can provide him the help that he needs or the second star that he needs. But I like the addition of Spencer Dinwiddie, who will be his backcourt mate. I like KCP, Kyle Kuzma, get a fresh start, new opportunity. Who I think he would be better than a lot of people, believe he will be. I think he'd be a lot better. Montrezl Harrell. And then I think Denny Idea and Rui Hachimura is going to be X factors for the squad. I think they're going to take another jump this season. Denny Idea can, play to his game. Last year they had him as a 3D player, which is not the game at all. He's a playmaking point forward. I think he had more opportunities here. Westbrook being gone to play more of his game. And then Rui Hachimura. I think he's an underrated player who often is forgotten about. I think he's going to take a jump this season. I think he could potentially be the second, third option for this Wizards squad. I really do believe he can take that jump. But overall, I actually would not be surprised. It just Wizards squad makes the playing game, or we get that HC once again. I'm probably a little bit higher on the Wizards than a lot of people are, but I think this team will be a playing team once again. I do believe they'll be a playing team once again. And I would not be surprised one bit they get the AC. If everything go right for them, they stay healthy. So I had the Wizards squad as a tier 14. I do believe they are one of the more deepest team in the league. Alright, last but not least, we got to talk about the Orlando Magic. Who I believe, no doubt, that they would be the worst team in the East. They're a tier 5. They're a tier 5 squad for me. They would be I truly do believe this is going to be the worst team in the East. I'm not necessarily saying that they don't have a future or anything. I think they got a lot of good young players. I love the fact that Jalen Suggs showed them at 5, which is I didn't think that was gonna happen. When Nick Carter had an up and down career, but he looked a lot better so far, Orlando's compared to Chicago. I think the trade, for them to get RJ Hampton was good. Got Kiki, I like him as a prospect. Obama who has unfortunately been disappointed so far in his career. Hopefully, he get more opportunity because he's been playing behind, Vucevic his whole career and behind Wendell Carter now. Hopefully, he get the minutes that he deserves. Hopefully, he get more minutes and get opportunity to prove himself in this league because he still haven't got a full opportunity, in my opinion, to showcase all his skills, all his talents. And then we're going to see what happens with Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, who Jonathan Isaac is one of my favorite young players in the league, who I still have a lot of, I think has a lot of potential, a lot of upside in this league. I know he has some injuries he dealt with so far the past couple seasons, but I still believe that he could be one of the most versatile defenders in the league. Before he got an injury, he was definitely a defensive player of the year candidate. He could switch 1 through 5, and his 3-point shot was coming along together. He's a 6'11" forward, man, who can guard all 5 positions and can knock down a 3. So, like I said, I like the young players, especially Suggs and Jonathan Isaac. Hopefully, Markelle Fultz can bounce back. This team, though, they are just beginning rebuilding mode. I like the move in them, hitting the reset button because it was time. But no doubt in my mind that this team is a tier 5. I do believe that this will be the worst team in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season. And I'm going to leave it at that. I said I was going to try to keep this video under 30 minutes. I'm at 38 minutes. I'll talk for a long time. I hope you guys, stay with me throughout this video. And if you are still here, please let me know your opinions in the comment section, man. I appreciate you guys who stay with me. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all the support. I'm glad to be back, man. This is fun to talk about. Hopefully, my next video, which will be out Thursday or Friday, I'm gonna have my Western Conference preview on Friday. So my next video will be out Friday, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, let me know in the comment section how you guys feel about my tier list, and let me know in the comment section who you guys believe are the favorites in the Eastern Conference, and also let me know in the comment section who are your 1 to 8 seeds, 1 to 8 seeds. So let me know. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. Peace out.